Right, so now that we've got our axis orientation sorted, we can just click our center object mode and we can get rid of that horrible disgusting mess. And now we're going to start adding in our IK joints, and this is where I want people to really pay attention to what they're doing. And even like I've been doing this for years, and even I have to make notes sometimes just to make sure I know what I'm doing, because there's a lot of there's many small steps involved in this that you need to make sure that you're hitting those correctly. So just like we've gone over in class, I know I want to have rotation applied to the back legs, so I need to use a rotate plane IK. I'm not going to go through what an IK is because we've gone over it in class, we've done the experiments, and we should know the rough uses of an IK. It's just the what IKs and where to use them is what we need to do in this. So I'm going to take my model, or my rig I should say, and I'm going to go up to this button here, which is the third button in our rigging tab. It's the third button. I'm going to double click that to bring up the tool settings, or I can click it once and go up to tool settings up here. And by default we've got single chain solver selected. Now this isn't the one we want when we're making our initial IKs on the leg. If we drop this down, we want to change it to a rotate plane solver, because then that'll give us the ability to actually then rotate our legs using a pole vector. So I'm going to go change that to rotate plane, and you can close that for the time being. And then I'm going to bring up my attributes editor, not my attributes editor, my outliner, sorry. And I'm going to just collapse the whole joint structure, because for now I don't need it, but I do need to keep track of the joints, the IKs I'm making. So just to go over that again, I'm making sure that my IK is a rotate plane solver. And what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to start off on the left side of the body, its left, and with that rotate plane solver selected, I'm going to take it from the pelvis here. So I've just clicked on that IK, that joint. I'm going to take it down to here, the third joint in the chain, and then that creates for me my IK handle 1. And I can just check that works. You can see that that's working perfectly. So I'm going to name that my left RP for rotate plane. Oh, sorry, no, sorry. It's on the left side, so it's left back rotate plane IK. So these names will get a little bit confusing while you're typing them in, but they're for us to know that on the left side at the back is a rotate plane IK. That's why we name them like that. Okay, so I've added my rotate plane IK to this leg. And you can tell it's a rotate plane because we've got this circle here, and I can access my IK by grabbing the little brown cross at the back. Well, it's turned green now, but right there you can see that it's brown. If I click that, I access my IK. If I just click on the joint, I just get that. So you know you've got it selected correctly when everything goes purple and you get this green line in there. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other back leg, from the pelvis to third joint in the chain. There we go. You can just test that works, which it does. And that is going to be it's on the right side at the back. It's an RP IK. It's a rotate plane IK. So on the right side at the back is a rotate plane IK. And again, we can check that those are both rotate planes because we've got our little circle at the top. If they're not rotate planes, they're going to be single chains. Just delete the IK just by selecting the IK and hitting delete, and then reapplying it, going into your settings obviously, changing it to an RP solver, and then reapplying. So that's good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add 2 single chain solvers to the other joints in the leg, so that they can act like restraints later on. when we come to do our reverse lock joints, they will act as children that will stay where they are, and they're not gonna, like if we grab our leg now, these joints below it move very stiffly, but we don't necessarily want that. So we're going to set up this IK system just to hold joints in place later on. It might get a little bit confusing, but just bear with us, take it a step at a time and you'll understand. So I'm going to go back into, I'm going to double click my IK tool, which is the third one along inside our rigging palette. So double click that, and then I'm going to change the IK handle current solver to single chain. That's what I want. I just want single chain. And then I'm going to add one from there to there. So just spanning one joint. And then I'm going to add another one from there to there. So from heel to toe, I've added one. And then from toe to toe tip, I've added one. And then that's given us these two new IK tools in here. So the very first one is in the heel to toe section. So I'm going to call that, because it's on the left side at the back, and it's my single chain IK. I should actually prefix that. I'll do that again because I've missed out a little bit. Sorry. It's my left back single chain first IK, because there's going to be two of these, remember. So then I can just select my second one, and it's at the back, it's on the left side at the back. It's a single chain, and it's the first, oh, it's a second this time, sorry, IK. So we've got our left back single chain first IK, and then our left back single chain second IK. Alright, so now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other leg. So we'll then have 6 IK handles in our outliner. So just making sure that that's a single chain, which it is. I'll click my heel to my toe, and I'll name that right back single chain first IK, and then from toe to toe tip, and this is going to be my right back single chain second IK. Cool. So we can check that nothing really changes just yet, but we can just check that our IK is working, at least on our leg, for our rotate plane. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a reverse lock joint system to this back leg. And what a reverse lock joint system is, or an RLJ, is, like I said, like the best way I think about it is it's a shoe. It's a shoe which is fixed to the floor, so that when we grab our character and we move it down, we don't get this happening. Our character isn't bending its legs, it's just moving through the floor, and there's no real motion there. What an RLJ does is fix the foot in place so that then the leg can engage, and we can just use that RLJ as a shoe or a base plate for the foot. So, and I'm going to bring back my body for this. So this might be a bit of a longer video, but bear with us. So I'm going to bring back my body for this because I need to make, and I need to align these joints to some geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new joint cluster. So I'm going to click our insert joint tool. Remember, that's the second icon in our rigging palette. And I'm going to make my first joint right at the back of the foot there. So that's my first joint, is at the back of the paw, right there. And then I'm not going to hold anything. No, I'm not going to hold X or V or anything like that. I'm just going to click somewhere in the middle of that joint. So the next joint will sit over the top of our paw tip or our foot tip. The third one will sit over the paw or the foot, depending on how you've named it. And then the last one will sit over like that. So I've just roughly placed those in, and I can get rid of my body now. I've just roughly placed those in so they're going from the very back of the foot to the toe tip, to the toe, and then up to the heel. So it's going backwards, it's reversed, and it locks the foot in place. So it's a reverse lock joint. Now when we go back to our view, we can see that it's obviously been placed in the middle of the world, and we need to place these in this area, and that's really easy to do. If we remember, we have to go from the parent first and then down to the child at the end to place everything properly, because if we place this one in and then we start to mirror everything else, then this one's going to go over here. So you need to go from parent, which is this one, down the family tree. So for this first joint, in fact we're going to name them now. Let's name these joints. So this is going to be my, because it's going to be on the left side, it's going to be my left RLJ01, because it's the first joint in the chain. Joint. And then I can copy paste that. The next one in the chain is going to be my 02 joint, because it's the second in the chain. RLJ3 because it's the third in the chain, and RLJ4 because it's in the fourth point of the chain. So I'm going to grab my RLJ1, you can see there my RLJ1 has been selected, and I'm going to hold V, because again we can use snap to vertex to snap to joints. That's really cool that you can do that. And I'm going to snap this very first joint, so I'm going to hold V and I'm going to grab the x-axis arrow, and I'm going to drag my mouse over to this joint here so that it snaps in line here. So holding X, I'm going to move my cursor to there like that. So now the first reverse lock joint is now in line with my toe joint here, and then I can go down the chain and I can grab this joint and I can snap that to there, snap that one to there, and snap that one to there. So one way you might want to actually name these, if this system of naming is a little bit confusing, is you could name it something like the RLJ1 joint will be your RLJ base maybe, and then that one, the RLJ2 would be your RLJ toe tip because it's relating to the joints of the toe tip on the main joint structure. The RLJ3 will be RLJ toe because obviously it's relating to the toe, and then RLJ4 would be RLJ heel because it's relating to the heel. This will make it easier later on if you wish to do that. For me, I've used this naming structure for years, and I'm just used to using it. So now with those in place, we just have to do a really quick. Actually, no, we don't have to do any. If you wanted to, you could go in and you could just alter the last joint in the chain so that it acts how it should be acting, so that the x-axis goes out of the joint cluster. You can do that if you want. It's not terribly vital, but it's cleanly, you know, it's good practice. It's keeping you using the same tools over and over again, but it's not vital, so you don't have to do it. Okay, so one really cool thing about this is I need to take these joints and place them over here for the other foot. Now I don't have to just duplicate these joints and move them over. What I can do is I can use our mirror joint tool again. So if I go to my skeleton, mirror joints, and then if all your settings are like this again, so X, Y, Y, Z in our mirror across, orientation in our function, search for L, replace with R. If I just hit apply, it sends it over perfectly in position. I don't have to do anything to this new joint cluster. And then in our outliner here, we've got all our R, that, and our L's. So that's very cool. Very, very cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create, the whole point about these joints is that this joint cluster will now control the IKs here. So like to keep our legs locked in place. They're not locked in place just yet because we've only just moved them into place. We've not done anything else just yet. So this is where you might want to get a pen and paper and just really pay attention. Because at first, I know in class people were struggling with it a little bit. It sounds really confusing at first, but once you've done it once or twice, you know it clicks and you go, oh, okay, I get it. We're going to start parenting the IKs of our leg to the reverse lock joints. And what we're doing is we're taking the joints that are laid over each other and parenting that IK to that joint. So the IK of that leg becomes a child of that joint it's related to. It's really, really simple. In fact, we don't even need our main joint structure. All we need is our IKs we made. So all these IKs and these joints we've just made here. We don't need our big root joint cluster thing. We don't need that at all. So with my RLJ, so I'll do my left side first. So I'm just going to cascade my right leg first. I'll do my left leg, sorry, and then I'll do my right leg next. So I've just got to open my left joint cluster, and I've got all my joints here. So what I'm going to do, and this is where I want people to pay attention, and I'm going to go quite slowly on this. I want to parent my left back rotate plane IK with the last joint of my RLJ, which is that one, because those sit over each other, and I want to control my IK, this tool, with this joint. So remember when we parent stuff inside our outliner, I grab my IK and I just take a mental note about where I want to place it, so it's going to be placed down here. I take that first IK and I middle mouse drag on top of that joint. So I'm holding down middle mouse. You've now got this x-axis, this little plus sign on our mouse, and I'm just dragging it down on top of my left RLJ04. There we go. We know that our parenting's been successful because the child will stay selected. If we did it the wrong way around, then the joint will be selected. But just to make sure that that's been done correctly, I'm going to grab the root joint here and I'm just going to move it around, and now you can see that that joint now controls that IK. Obviously the rest of the foot's acting a bit weird because we've not done the parenting for those just yet, but we're always checking, so that's working perfectly. There we go. And now all I have to do is go down the chain. So my left back single chain number 1 needs to then be parented to my third joint in the chain. So my left back middle mouse drag onto that one. There we go. And if I just check that, that's working perfectly. And then to get my really nice toe rolls, being able to roll my foot forward on my last IK, I drag left back single chain 02 IK onto my second RLJ joint. So it's 2 to 2 on that one. And then I can check that that's working. There we go. Beautiful. So now you can see that the foot on the right here hasn't had any of this parenting done, but the foot on the left has. And if I just grab our root joint and I move it up and down, you can see what happens. It's locked the joint in place and allows us to have a maximum amount of control and that's why we use reverse lock joints. So I'll do the exact same thing on the other back leg. So I'll close this reverse lock joint cluster here in our outliner, and I'll just open the other one. So I'm only dealing with the right foot now, and it's a bit easier to know what's going on because I've only got this last batch of IKs here. So I'm taking the right back rotate plane IK and I'm pairing it to this joint, which is my right reverse lock joint 04 joint. So I'll just drag that down onto that one, and then I'll take the 01 and put it on 03. I'll take the 02 and I'll put it on 02. So now that foot's working like that. So there you go. So that's perfect. So what I suggest is doing a save and just trying that a few times. Just do the back of the legs a few times, just to get into the mindset of doing this. Because for me, that's very easy to do, but I've done this countless times on very complex rigs. So for you guys just starting off, or the guys who are just struggling to pick up like the method of doing that, just do a save and just do the back legs following these procedures, write it out on paper and just follow those steps, and then you'll get it. Promise you, you'll get it really quickly. It's just getting past that initial sort of about how to do it. So now we're going to do the same thing on the front leg, and it's very incredibly, it's identical for the front leg. It's just we don't put an IK on the clavicle joint. We just start off from this joint, the arm joint, and take it down to here. So I'll just go across and I'll just explain what I'm doing again, but I'll just go through it one time for each leg. So first things first, I'm going to start with my IKs, change it to a rotate plane, shoulder to hand, there you go, and then do the same thing on this one, boom, boom, there we go, test that those are working, and making sure that those are rotate planes with my little circles. And then I'm going to change the names to my left front RPIK and my right front RPIK, because I'm putting front and back on just so I know what's my front IK and what's my back IK. So change that back to a single chain. I'll go from my bow to bow, and then boom to boom. Do the same on the other side. Boom to boom, boom to boom. There we go. So then I'm going to go through and name those. That's my left front single chain 01 IK, because it's on it's on the left side, it's at the front, it's a single chain, it's the first in the group, and it's an IK. I can just do a little quick trick on that one. So this is my right front SC controller IK, and this is my right front SC controller 2 IK. There you go. So same thing as before, I've got 6 IKs. So now I'm going to make my reverse lock joints. So then I'm going to lay in my reverse lock joints. So laying my first one on the grid, then just trace roughly the joints going back up like that. There you go. Snapping those joints so they're sitting perfectly on top of their counterpart. Oops, sorry Perhaps it's the wrong thing. There we go. And I can name those. So like I said, you can name these whatever you want as long as it's clean and it's understandable. Obviously I've been using this naming convention for years, so I'm very, very, very used to it. So let's sort out that in that row axis orientation, because it's good practice to do that sort of thing. So there we go. So now I can do my mirror. Boom. So I'm just going to work on my left IK's parenting first. So I'm going for I'm parenting my left rotate plane to my fourth, or my last joint in the chain of my RLJ. So parenting that. Then my left O1 to my next one down the chain, and then my O2 to my O2. So now I can check that it's working perfect. Close that because I'm done with it. Open my right, take my my rotate plane for my right IK and drag it down on my last joint of the chain, and then just go back up the chain like that. There we go. So now everything's working perfectly. And if I grab my feet, everything is working perfectly. So like I said, I would thoroughly suggest doing this a few times. Just make a save, do your RLJs and your IKs for your legs, parent them, check if they work. If they work, awesome, do it again a couple more times. Just keep repeating, and this whole procedure will click, and it'll click on what you need to do, and maybe you'll discover a better naming convention for yourself. So yeah, all I can do is suggest keep doing it. You know, it should only take you a couple of minutes to do each one of these little legs anyway, so cool. Long video, but for now we're done on this so far. Now it's just making the controls for the pole vectors and the actual feet itself, and then making like a global control for the pelvis, and then after that it'll be whatever we cover inside the lesson. Okay.